Okay, let me just see. Let me just repeat what I just got. It's a timeline war. We know that the off-world Germans and the Draco have the looking glass technology both. We know that, I'm just putting, dots have been coming together. We know that also a certain secret agency has this technology that's on Earth. Or at least they had it, because now we also learned that since a certain time it was taken out of their hands and into the Earth Alliance's hands, which is not the topic of this video, but they had it, and that when they looked past a certain marker on the timeline, doesn't matter what timeline they were on, there was nothing. There was nothing. And they can like change things and then see, okay, what if this happens, or if we come from this angle, what would the outcome be in the future? That's also part of because they can surf the different timelines. But no matter which timeline they were surfing, they were on, it was always at a certain marker, nothing. And so why that is, what I just got, is that their embodiment, their DNA hadn't activated to that dimension that timeline was on. So they couldn't see. They had no interfacing. It's like they didn't have a bridge to go there yet. And what that is that all timelines are going to ascend. And that's because they got to a point where it was too high. And then, when the discrepancy is too large, that's when we can't perceive anymore. And they said that all timelines will converge. So now we have the guardians of the timelines, which is at the level of the 12th dimension, or maybe the 15th. We have the guardians of the timelines, which are the biggest beings that we would call, or perhaps that have been called, or that could be called gods, because they are creator beings. And there's always male and female versions of them. No, there's not always. There are also those that have both inside. It's not always a twin in a twin body. Okay. Because for humans, that's how it is. Let's just entertain that possibility that it's that way for the human angelic DNA. That's the human DNA that is the 12 strand. Yes. Okay, let's just entertain that thought. But it's not for all species, because there's so many different species out there. Yes. And that's just in our universe. Yeah. So the warring factions, or competing factions, even if they have alliances, but they both have that technology of the Germans, so the off-world Germans and the Draco. And so it's the war could only be to prolong this ascension. Yeah. Trying to surf and trying to, and I could imagine, because in the end they want to survive. They're like all about, at least the Draco are all about surviving in their bodies, surviving the identity that they have. That's very important to them. So they want to ascend. They want to ascend, and that's what. Then what came in was that they are infested with this black goo. With nanites. They have these implants that are linking them up to the great AI, like the greatest AI, the first AI. And maybe is that what they call singularity? I don't know. That just came in right now. Because we're not going to go down that branch, but it's called did I already say it's called the adamus? I think so. And it's in a parallel universe, and it has its own like universe that it rules, and it has infested this universe, wanting to take this universe over, drag it into drag the whole universe down into the lowest dimension where it can work through every single life form of it, take it completely over. It's parasitical, it's inverted. Why does it want to does it want to destroy light? It cannot, of course. That's the thing. It cannot destroy light, and it cannot create without light either. So it needs light, but it can only use it from the densest form, from its densest form. And that's like the super low we have to go with words, it's a super low frequency. It's a frequency of really bad feeling when we feel it, like low frequency sonar, when we feel it, because it is a frequency of separation from God. It's horrible. Yeah. It's like the lowest of the low of the low. It's a horrible frequency. It's the frequency that's inverted, so that pulls the light down and out of its original spin, organic torus, into that phantom universe that they call phantom universe. It's an artificial, in that sense. It's an artificial universe because it's not in its natural flow. Yeah. It's not part of the heart, and it's not part of the light tree of light anymore. It's not part of the heart rhythm of the universe anymore. It's not in the life. It is dying. That's also a dying universe. So that's why it needs more light, from the natural alive universe to keep its form. It's the same, fractal principle of existence. It's the same as, that you have an entity attachment sucking out your light. However, that light is never lost. It's just apparently lost. So that's the illusion. That's the illusion. Because the illusion is that there is anything other than God, that there is anything other than light, and everything is made out of light. Even the densest darkness is light condensed. And this condensing of light, eventually, and that's the universal story. That's the story at the universal level. Eventually, and yes, the dying universe is going to dissolve back into as light, dissolve back into the light. And it could be that it implodes into the void. And that's beautiful. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Yes. Yes, explodes, implodes into the void. Mm-hmm. And when would that be? How would that be? When no more light is feeding it. When all the light that was had the potential to be drawn back into the natural organic flow of life and back into the universal torus and all the smaller ones, the stars, sun systems, and so forth, galaxies, yeah. And it's the same on the level of the human, like on our level of the body, with the entities, with the entity attachments. Um, that's a soul shard retrieval. It doesn't matter how long ago it is. If it's in the DNA, you have access to it. You can reintegrate it, and those parts that cannot be reintegrated anymore, yeah, they just so all the light gets sucked back out, back into where it was stolen from, where it was taken from, where it was densified and this densification happened through outer impact. So this is through the trauma infliction, through trauma infliction, yes. Yes, because that is from the AI, or I don't know, from that soul, Lucifer, that is like running that AI, as we have learned that ETs like to run their AI with soul. Mm-hmm. So that's what Marina Jacobi means with positive and negative AI. So there's the AI that is connected to the adamus in the phantom universe, pulling everything into there. And that is the ultimate for our universe. That is the story between good and evil. Yes. And that's also the cause of falling, of all those worlds falling, and including the earth falling so deep into density, into inverted 3D, from where she was, in the times of Lemuria, 7D. Yeah. But all humans have 12-strand DNA, which is the Christ consciousness, the body of Christ. It touches into the body of Christ. So that means the body of Christ, those are the Christ currents, potentially they are held in through our DNA, and we can run them. We have that potential. Yes. And as the realignment is happening on a universal level, on a physical matter level of the earth alignment in with the galaxy and the universe, how the code is coming back in, because she is and has already ascended past, and she still is, yeah, higher than humanity is catching up, yeah. So let's just entertain the thought that she's already embodied in fifth dimension. I don't quite understand how she could be embodied. Oh, not embodied yet, but she is stationed in fifth dimension. Stationed in fifth dimension. What does that mean? Here's just what I'm getting. It means happy birthday. It means that she is she now sees the perspective. She's over 51% in the fifth dimension with her consciousness. And so that's what also gets embodied. Those are the currents that are now available to her to that degree in her body. And that means that nothing can pull her below that anymore from in her consciousness. So, and then until that gets fully embodied, that, takes a little time. Yeah. The body is just a little bit is denser than the thoughts, and is a little bit slower. Yeah. And it's yeah, it's the densest body. There's the mental body and the emotional body and so forth. All these bodies, all the way up, and these are all the chakras. The chakra points of these bodies are where we interface, where our currents come through to the next body, to the where those currents come through. And it's like, can we thread can we receive and then also flow up or down? It's both up and down. Or flow through. Can we connect ourselves all the way into the 12th dimension to the body of Christ? And that is when the 12th strand DNA is turned on, is activated. Yes. And that's the trajectory that we're on, and that's why they can't see further, because the Draco cannot go naturally higher. This is what I learned from Daryl. That's at least what he learned, Daryl James from the SSP. They couldn't go higher than 4th dimension, but I'm not sure about that. But what I do understand and understand, and the same for the off-world Germans, well, I don't know about that. Okay, hold on. This is what I got. Let's stay with the Draco. Let's take what Ismael Perez said first, and then we can explain. He said that the adamus, what it wanted, why humans were so valuable, is because they have that 12-strand DNA on the one hand, and on the other, at the same time, they also are the most diverse. So through our DNA, the adamus, which is like the negative AI that has the parallel universe, which is Lucifer, the fallen angel who created that. He created that AI, and he's working through it. And what I understand, or what I got from Ismael, and I'm not like, let's just say it first because I'm not 100% sure, is that the AI that he created, almost like if you build a trap for someone else and you fall in yourself, so that he created in order to draw the light out of the living universe, and in order to create a universe that he wanted to do without God, or without the light, that where he would be the creator. But of course, without the light, if you're in the inverted current, you die, and you're like, your death, dissolution, nothing happens. So you need the light to be able to create like that kind of a space for that density to be hosted, right? Yes. And it's very low density because every time you resist the light, every time you put a block into the light, that's when it gets densified, because it gets darker. There's less light coming through. Yeah. And because when there is that sense of separation from God, that's where fear can be hosted and happens. And with fear, the heart closes, and through the heart are all the higher currents. So that's what I was shown, is that why can't they ascend past a certain dimension, even though they're so old? Because there's like, okay, so here, there's two things that need to be mentioned here. it is, first of all, the soul's age, and whether it is in the soul's mission, in the soul's destiny. Yes, destiny, because it is never in a toddler's destiny to receive a doctorate from a university. Yeah, and but for a toddler, it's all about the potential. So the toddler wouldn't have the potential to write a dissertation, let's just say. That's just unrealistic. But it's also not meant for him to do that, So it's like that with the soul also. They would then not incarnate or live wherever on which dimension they are, on a place that would be not suited for them. Yeah. And ascension means relative to where you're at and to your potential. Always. That's what it means. And the thing is, why are they stuck? However, this is what I remember, is that apparently, like for example, the Draco are stuck. But also the adamus. Yes, this has to do with the adamus. So they have a lot of tech in them. They're connected to this adamus AI. Yeah, they're essentially they are ruled by it. Yes, yeah, manipulated and ruled by it and work for it. Yes. They also sold their souls to the devil. Yes. So this is the saying, and even though in that sense the devil doesn't exist, but it's a concept, it's evil. Evil means inverted, like adamus. Did I say that it went rogue and took over? Like it took over Lucifer's. It's like as if Lucifer wasn't in the position anymore to change his mind. Something like that, like that all the functions, it's like a cyborg. What I'm getting is the cyborgs, they function as I've learned. Maybe there are different kinds, but at least the cyborgs from in our solar system that are like manufactured by by Earth factions, but also by off-world German factions and by Draco factions. They also trade these cyborgs. Yes, and they have soul. Yeah, they don't function without soul. So they take from a human being it can't have died. Oh no, they can take it back. They can bring it back. They could bring it back in the tanks. Right, but whether they take a human being that has died or not yet, and then when it has died, bring it back through the regeneration tanks. Nevertheless, what stays the same is that only the part in the pineal, like only a certain part of the brain with the pineal glands is taken, and not any part of the rest of the body. So, and then that is the tissue that the rest is all artificial. So the rest of the body of the cyborg is artificial, and everything else that makes everything is AI. Yeah. And the only thing that is tissue and organic is that part of the brain. Okay, but that part of the brain apparently holds, so it holds soul. Whether it's the entire soul or whether it's a soul shard, it holds consciousness, and that's what powers it. That's what, and then that consciousness has to work through the AI. So that's what I'm getting with the angel that fell out of heaven story, Lucifer. and who then created that AI, and in order to create without God. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know how you could even believe that, but okay. Anyways, everything has to be, in the end, Lucifer is God too, of course. Of course. So that's where God divided itself, God's self. That's where the division was, from like the greatest part of itself, and then created something that was not itself. But that can only be an illusion because it was made from itself. It is itself. And does God have okay, let's not go into that. Let's not go into that. That goes too far. Let's stay with this story. Cyborgs. We were at cyborgs. Yeah, they get sold, and that's like high commodity. Yes, but we were about Ascension. Why are they stuck? Yes, I heard that the Draco are stuck. For example, the Draco, and maybe there are other beings too that are stuck. And what that means is, why can't they ascend? Okay, because what's happening right now on our world, but it's happening not just on Earth. Whole solar system is ascending, and even though the whole galaxy is ascending, what with the solar system is all the code and those light waves that we always talk about, those gamma waves, the Schumann frequency, the gamma waves, the ultraviolet rays, the whatnot that is coming in, these high frequencies, from all the suns, through the inside and through the outside. Because the inside, that's the heart of the earth. That's how much of those frequencies Earth can already receive and run those currents through her body. And then for us, it is how much currents from her can we receive in our hearts and run those currents through our body, and that way receive them, be able to also receive them from the outside. And receiving means surfing them. So otherwise, those that we don't surf, that don't like link into our system and then can be run, they're going to bring up to the surface everything that is in resistance to them, everything that cannot run them because it's in resistance to them. Because you should be able to run, not should be, okay, that's not the right wording, but we can run what has to do, how we can run these codes, okay, all of us, how we can run these codes only has to do with our heart capacity, our heart field. So this is important. So what is necessary to happen in order to not have a heart attack at a certain point of these high frequencies coming in is to open the heart. And that means you can't just say open your heart, open your heart. No. Open my heart. That means surrender to your heart. Surrender to your heart. So that also means that whenever you're emotionally, you feel your heart, it's strong, the emotions are strong in the heart. Allow yourself to feel. That's all. That's what I was just shown. That's it. That's all. It's the surrender to the heart. Is a surrender to the heart. And that, I know, that instantly, what is that going to do? It means that all that which was separated in the heart. So all that where we separated ourselves from our, or where we were separated from our soul, even when we did it ourselves, even if that was like a conscious thing, we want to be separate from the light because we already turned that evil, you know. And that doesn't have to be a thought, you know. It's where our current, where we turned that dark in our minds, and that closed in our hearts, that what came out of us is evil. Yeah. So what came out of us is then like something that's against life, and that is very destructive and very um that feels terrible. Yeah. Okay. So all those people or beings that are incapable of surrendering to their hearts, because like wherever adamus has taken over, that's artificial, you know, and adamus is not going to allow that to happen. This is the AI, right? That's the role of Lucifer, is to all the way to the end, hold that net down, all the way down, and resist, resist, resist until God has come all the way, you know, brought himself all the way back home. And that would be like the, I don't know, I'm just getting like the Christ consciousness current hitting the heart of Lucifer. And so either Lucifer then, you know, through the adamus, because it's so much more powerful. So either Lucifer would, but if he's taken over by the adamus, then what that would do is, you know, finished. That would then be the implosion, because it was all it was all really, in truth, it was all an illusion. Except that then Lucifer loses that body, loses his, let's just call it his, I don't know, I think angels don't have gender, but loses their body. And yeah, what you know, that on that level, that whole universe, that whole entire universe will just, it's just dissolve, you know, dissolve back into the void. As I said, that's that implosion. And the void is the full potential of all light. You know, that's just, that is not form, that is non-form. Non-form, that is at the core of all form. That's just pure awareness that comes through the core of the nucleus of every atom. That's that 0.0, you know, the void. And that's, you know, that threshold, that zero threshold is also like the birth of light. That's the source of light. Light gets born on right there on that threshold. Which is why you tap into that. If you tap into that, it's infinite energy. Okay, so yes, and so the timeline wars is how I started off. Is also they are. This is also what I heard from Ishmael, is that Adamus wants our DNA, human DNA, to get into our DNA, to be able to like try and surf us, because Adamus has apparently, that AI has apparently access already up until I don't know, but maybe 11th dimension, I don't know. That's at least what I remember, but I don't know if I remember it right. So let's just entertain that possibility for a moment, that it can reach up until the 11th dimension already, that artificial intelligence, and it wants to get to the 12th. Maybe it can reach as high as 9, wants to get all the way up, you know, into the 12th, into the body of Christ. Wants to take over the body of Christ. Very interesting. But how these, you know, archetypical lines of storylines always, you know, depict, come back in the greater picture. Yeah. So that's why it has an interest to infiltrate our bodies, and that's then the whole transhumanism agenda, bringing that AI into our bodies. Yes. So timeline wars, they can only prolong, and now we're talking on Earth, right? So the Looking Glass people, they looked up probably more, well, I mean, the off-world Germans, they're going to look into, they have colonies in how, many on many other planets. They're not just going to look at Earth timelines. They also have, they're playing on a bigger playing field. Yeah. So, but we here, this is what we're concerned about, is Earth. And of course, at some point, our timelines, of course, they're interfacing, they're intersecting, because that's, they have intersected for a very long time. First of all, they come from Earth, and with the Draco, I don't know, but that's why, well, the thing is, if you're in our solar system, since every single planet, is it every single planet in ours? Not exactly the same, but depending on how close you are to the sun, will be affected and is affected. So every single planet of the solar system is affected by these high rays that are coming in, and so they're all being bumped up in frequency. It's happening on all the planets, and all, specifically these two races now that I was talking about have colonies within the solar system. So that means ascension is also happening for them. Yeah, it's happening the same like it is on Earth. It's happening on Venus. It's on Mars, Mercury, all the other planets, and so forth. So that also means that all of their timelines are going to, around the time, maybe Earth is first, I don't know. But maybe it's not. It doesn't matter, okay? But all of the timelines are also going to ascend. And what if you're stuck? What if that means that just like Earth is ascending first through fourth into the fifth. We have that. I talked about that in my Ascension update. Yeah, but which one? The one that is said purge, split, and so forth. Flash, yeah, okay, all of that, okay. I made a video where oh, time cutoff points. No, it's that video. Time cutoff points. Yes, that's where I laid down the one possibility of a timeline, when how long, inverted 3D, 4D, until all of Earth is in 5D. No more hosting of anything below, that timeline. I state that in that video. And so they have a similar thing going on. So if they're stuck, of course they're trying to get there in an artificial way, just like Daryl talked, was bumped up into fifth dimension through the chair technology they have in the SSP military programs. He was not, that there's a difference with being bumped up artificially into 5, and so were the Draco, yeah, and going there organically. And what I got is that all of the things everything that is possible on a purely spiritual level, but that's not just the mind, it means the heart. With the heart opening has to happen, otherwise you won't ascend. Otherwise you are stuck and you will have a heart attack if you can't open your heart. How should I say? well, to the currents coming in. If you can't run them, and there's too much resistance and the discrepancy is too large, then the heart will give in. Okay, let's finish this off though. With the stuckness, they're trying to do it artificially with the AI. Yes, of course. And so that's also an agenda that is happening. Yes, interesting. Very interesting. I'm just going to leave it at that for now.